Hello, thank you for joining me today. My name is Selena Rodgers Dickerson. I am an entrepreneur in Birmingham, Alabama, born and raised, and a graduate of Tennessee State University. I own currently Sarkor LLC, which is a civil and transportation engineering firm located in Birmingham, but servicing throughout the state of Alabama. I also own Selena LLC, which is a supply diversity and inclusion solutions company, where we help maintain diverse spend metrics for various entities. Today, I'm going to bring to you a few business leaders to help engage minority and diverse businesses. So here we have today, we want to talk to you about why it's important to become a certified business, initiatives for becoming certified, and the things that are being done throughout the city of Birmingham and the state to include diverse businesses, as well as present you with opportunities to maybe have your business or businesses included in some of the hot items that are coming up in Birmingham in the near future. First, I'd like to introduce Mr. Victor Brown. Mr. Brown is partner at the Birmingham Business Alliance, also known as the Alliance. I'd like for you to know that when I first started and along my path and my journey, Mr. Brown has been one of the key people that I've gone to help make sure that I'm on point. He's helping me make sure that I'm crossing my T's and dotting my I's, from anything from making sure that my performance are in order to making sure that my balance sheet and my profit and loss statements make sense for the growth that I want to see. He's introduced me to people who I probably would not always had access to. But not only that, I consider Mr. Brown to be a friend as well as a mentor. He's not just doing his job because he's a partner at the Alliance. He's doing it because he loves what he does. And it's that kind of person, they're hard to find. So, Mr. Brown, thank you. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to come and just help me help others.
Absolutely. Thank you, Selena, for inviting me. It's really a pleasure to be here. I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Thank you. Thank you. So, what I want to talk to you about is just some of the things that we talk about in our conversations one-on-one sometimes about what we're doing at the BBA, the Alliance. You presented opportunities to me and helped me brighten my alliance, my purview, my perspective on what the Alliance has to offer minority-owned businesses and women-owned businesses. Can you share some of that information with everybody today?
It will be an honor. I think that when we first started, and I think for all of us, whenever we start our businesses, I was once a business owner myself. And oftentimes we as business owners have a narrow view of what is available and what our opportunities are. And I believe when you and I first met, you were on a great path. You wanted to be successful in your company, and you were willing to meet with me. And I remember sitting in my office and us spending, I think we planned to spend maybe an hour or so together. And if I remember correctly, we were together about 2 or 3 hours just talking about the opportunities. And the key thing that we discussed, and you really hit the nail on the head in terms of the Alliance and how the Alliance can play well into the future of a business. But for minority and businesses, women-owned, small businesses, our local and diverse companies, what they can find is exactly what Sarkor LLC and Selena found out. And that is that much of your success, much of what can happen for your business in the future really is depending on you, your attitude, your mindset. And then as you get your plans solidified, and preferably, I always recommend getting those plans on paper, documented, and then moving forward with doing exactly what Selena Rodgers Dickerson did for Sarkor, beginning to make relationships, because in all honesty, relationships really are the difference between the trajectory of a company and what a company is or can become just based only on transactions alone. Transactions are great. Many businesses are out there going after transactions. And I've heard it said many times that you can build a business and hustle and go out and get business and bring money in. But if you want to build a business and if you want to run a company and work on your business and not just in your business, then you want to develop a strategy. And I think that's what that's all about.
Absolutely. You know, it's interesting that you brought up a few things with that. You said, you mentioned relationships and the importance of relationships. And you also said something about working on your business and not in your business. So I remember, um, just a few weeks ago, I met with the local business leader and author, Mr. Larry Thornton. And Mr. Thornton mentioned, he gave me a band and it said, work hard, relate hard. And he was absolutely right, because just like you said, the relationships absolutely matter. People do business with who they like. You know, if they don't like you, no matter how great your product or service is, chances are you're not going to get that business. And then you also mentioned, work on your business and not in your business. I remember when you encouraged me to apply for the SBA Emerging Leaders Program. And I swear that program changed my life. I was in that program all over the place. I had a goal, but I didn't know how to get to that goal. But by getting in that program, that you said, don't worry about what it looks like. Don't worry about if you don't think you have a chance, you won't have a chance. If you don't apply, just apply. And I did. I followed your advice and I applied for the program. And I walked out of there with a document that made me look very well to banks. It helped me see the importance of working on my business and not in my business, and learning to delegate, learning how to grow strategically. And from there, it's just been class after class, networking event after networking event, to be able to grow a sustainable business. And I have a strong team of engineers who love what they do. And had I not gotten out of my way, I probably would have, just halted myself, put the brakes on myself, not even knowing. I see myself right now, like, what if I were just like Fred Flintstone and just trying to start with my feet, and it wouldn't work. It's just, so I thank you for that and presenting that to me. But enough about that trajectory, because I'm starting to feel like all nostalgic and stuff, thinking
Yeah.
about where I was and how we started. And I'm grateful for those moments and those opportunities. But I know the Alliance has some good initiatives in working with minority-owned businesses and beefing up that to show that there's inclusion with local companies here in Birmingham that have bought in to, we need to do more. We need to be intentional about working with small business. Can you tell us something about those programs?
I sure can. So one of the programs that we're involved with is called the Inclusive Procurement Council. That program grew out of the Vital program. We have a contract with the city of Birmingham. Back in July of 2020, Mayor Randall Woodfin put out a pledge to improve and increase doing business with minority, women-owned, and disadvantaged business enterprises. Since the time that that pledge was made, and he invited what ended up becoming about 10 companies that reported their diverse spend, which is one of the items that the pledge mandated, was basically reporting spend on an annual basis, including total spend, local spend, and diverse spend, and also increasing that spend over time. And we've been working with about 13 companies. We've got companies that are signing on every day. And what is happening now for our minority, women-owned, and disadvantaged business enterprises, they have an opportunity to participate in our Alliance Connects program. Alliance Connects brings suppliers and potential suppliers together. So there are many diverse suppliers that are already doing business with the top 10 or 20 companies in Birmingham. And there's a mix of potential suppliers included that have the interest and in many cases the ability to handle large dollar contracts with our large corporations here in Birmingham. So we're very excited about that program. Over the next few months, there'll be additional programs that will be unveiled and there'll be cohorts. And Selena, I love what you had to say about classes. Sometimes our businesses get a bit tired and fatigued from taking classes, and there's many great classes and cohorts. But what I would like to say is that we should always be learning. We should take advantage of every single class, and sometimes the information may be a bit redundant. And I know that it could be frustrating for businesses that have taken classes over and over again and for some reason can't seem to make any traction in terms of increasing their revenue. But I want to encourage all the businesses that are watching this program to sign up for additional cohorts that will be coming online. The Alliance will be connecting with partners that will produce programs and events and classes that really are going to be beneficial. But I must admit, we are improving where we were in terms of the companies not only encouraging you to take classes, but to also put you on a path to contracts. And that's what the Alliance is working hard to do. So, in addition to the Inclusive Procurement Roundtable and our Alliance Connects event, we will be soon announcing additional initiatives beginning in 2022 that will really make a difference in the lives of our minority and small businesses and our women-owned companies and disadvantaged business enterprises. We really are looking forward to having a big year in partnership with all of you, including your companies as well as the businesses that they serve.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And thank you for the information about the upcoming classes. And that's good to know, because as we start planning for the next fiscal year, many of us need to know what opportunities might be out there so we can allocate the right amount of time. We have to be intentional the same way the VBA, the Alliance is making sure that you all are intentional about giving us the opportunities. We have to be intentional about participating in opportunities. Otherwise, you can't grow the system, you can't grow the numbers without both parties being a part of the process. And so, we, as business owners, we have to be a part of the process. And yes, you're right. Sometimes, the classes may seem like it's the same thing over and over again. But what I learned really early on in my business, um, as I started taking classes and I went through the round of classes, I started sending my employees to classes. We actually have a job code set aside to where it's called continued education, that I make sure that I keep my employees abreast, so that there's a class that I feel like maybe I know, but I might want to train an employee to become a VP in the company or become operations manager. Well, I may not expect them to go and get an MBA. However, I can send them to these free classes and workshops that are offered throughout our ecosystem here, to where they can start learning how some of this works, should they have that desire. And so, and then I also know that, it's not what we hear one time, it's what we keep hearing repetitively, so that it become a part of our spirit. So it becomes a part of our daily routine and our actions, because, what we focus on definitely expands. And that is, if we can get it in our subconscious mind, it actually becomes a part of our being. And so getting from that point to where we are to where we want to be means that we have to use those classes to build that. So thank you for the heads up, so I can get ready for 2022.
Absolutely. Get ready.
And so, and last thing, for the opportunities that you mentioned that may be coming up for contracting with some of the top 20 firms or so in the area, will certification be required? A minority owned, like maybe a woman-owned small business, DBE, MBE, small business enterprise, are any of those certifications required or an added bonus? And if so, speak to a little bit why it's important to maybe be certified.
Thank you for that. What an excellent question. Certification has often been a bone of contention for our businesses, and I'm hoping that that can change. And I'll tell you why I'm saying that. With the companies that are involved in our Inclusive Procurement Council, many of them have told us, the Alliance and our partners, that third party certification will no longer be just a plus, it will no longer be optional. Sooner than later, any company that is not certified as a minority owned business, as a disadvantaged business enterprise, or as a woman owned business, no longer will the companies for very long be willing and able to do business with your small or minority business if you are not certified. What I really want to recommend is as you look around for opportunities to be certified, get certified. If you have an opportunity to be certified without that third party certification, then that's great. But I would really highly recommend that all of our small and minority businesses go ahead today and start working on your certification. Start working on looking at the Small Business Administration 8A program. Get into as many programs as possible. And in some cases, these programs are not free. And that is something that you should consider putting in your budget. Go ahead and budget to become certified. Budget to join organizations like the Birmingham Business Alliance, just like Selena has done. Selena is one of our Council of Advisors members, and she comes into contact with others that are her peers in the level of her business in order to reach success. So there's a combination of getting those certifications, attending as many classes as you can. And when you're in those classes, you're building relationships. When you become a certified minority owned, women owned, or disadvantaged business enterprise, you're going to be invited to meetings and conventions and conferences where you're going to come into contact with people that can do business with you. And the onus is on you to build up your business. I love what, Selena, what you shared about sending your employees to classes. It's not just about the founder of the company or the CEO going to the classes, but you can send your workforce. And as you grow revenue and as you hire more people, then you have a pipeline of education opportunities that all of the employees can take advantage of, which will allow your company to grow. And then you can hire more employees. And that's what the Birmingham Business Alliance wants you to do. We want your company to grow. We want you to hire employees. We want you to stay in Birmingham. And we also want you to do business in all the places that our Inclusive Procurement Council does business. Oftentimes, our small businesses will look at our large companies and look for opportunities, but the companies want to know, do you have the ability to do business in a 15 state footprint, in a 20 state footprint? And that takes planning and it takes strategy, but it's well worth it for you to generate revenue in states outside of Alabama, not just in Birmingham and in Alabama. So with that, the certifications are critical, they're key, and they can lead you to tremendous increases in revenue, can allow you to grow, hire employees, create job, and create wealth for your family and for your employees as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And I agree with you 100%. You have to budget for these things. You know, a lot of people don't know that, but when they see me now, they say, you know, well, you've already made it. But they don't know how I started. You know, I started broke with $2,500 and to my name. And I made a decision to not pay myself a whole lot of money, use as many free resources as I could, and just try to make sure that I can stay afloat. A lot of the times, because I did not have cash flow or money of my own or not paying myself because I had to invest in computers and software, and I was strategic about saving enough money to make sure that I can cover a new employee's salary for at least 1 year before I even started thinking about paying myself what I thought I should be paid. But in order to get those certifications, I started looking for organizations that were certified for free. And so I like to just put out there for people who may be watching that may want to know, how do I get certified? I might not have $350 today to get certified. I'll give you two tips. One, if you contact the ALUCP, the ALUCP is, or ADECA, Alabama Department of Environmental, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. That's ADA I'm thinking about. That's the wrong Alabama Department of
Economic and Community Affairs.
Thank you. So you can get certified free with ADECA. You can also get certified free with Alabama Department of Transportation, the Birmingham Airport Authority, Wave Transit System in Mobile, the Port Authority in Mobile, and I think it's the Huntsville Airport. But if you just go to Google, if you're in Alabama and Google ALUCP, you can get your free certification. And that will cover you whether you're in construction, professional services, hospitality, etc. And that will certify you as a disadvantaged business enterprise or minority business enterprise entity. And if you're in another state and you see this, if you just look up your local Department of Transportation, there will be a certification process through that because it's all through the uniform certification process that every process is the same. Now, the other tip that I want to give you is when you go through the process of getting certified one time, save your documents, get you a good filing system, make copies of everything, and upload those documents in a file, in a file with everything labeled, because you're going to need the same documents for every entity you choose to certify with. And so make life a little bit easier for yourself by just saving it all once. Do it right the first time. Put it into place in your cloud server, email it to yourself, whatever you have to do to make sure that you have all the documents there. It's going to be anything from your bank signature card to your operating agreement. And so those are things that there are various entities that will help you put those things together. But for free, you can start that way. But then build into your fiscal year for next year in your budget. I need $350 for Webex South, or I need $1,000 or so, or $5,000 or so for the Alliance. Put those things in your budget because that might be one day's worth of sales in order to make that. And I promise you that just by having those certifications, it has absolutely opened doors for me and my company and my team that I not had ever imagined. Victor, before I go, I need to get on your calendar. It's time for our check-in.
That's right.
to make sure that I go into 2022 on the right footing and let you know where some things have changed in my life. But before I close out with you, is there anything that you'd like to say to wrap it up?
Absolutely. I'll add on, in addition to certification, hiring professionals that can help you not only keep in compliance. Being in compliance is important. We will work hard to get certified, but then in order to stay in compliance, it may be that we need to make sure our bookkeeping is getting done every month, every quarter, every year, and our tax returns are being done, because those are the compliance items that are going to be asked about in that certification process and ongoing. But more than that, just having your professionals that are involved with your company, and even if you can't budget $5,000 or $10,000 for an attorney and a CPA, start with a bookkeeper. Get to know your attorney and have a relationship with your banker and let your banker know about your plans. And I know Selena did all of these things, and I want to highly recommend that others do that as well. Just make sure you get your house in order, get organized, be willing to hire professionals. One of the things that the Alliance will be doing in 2022 is connecting companies with consultants that can provide services that are critical. And we'll also introduce you to other resource partners in the ecosystem that are doing likewise as well, depending on where your business is in the life cycle of your company. So wherever your company is, whether you're ready for those multi-million-dollar contracts or you're really a solopreneur or someone that just has a handful of employees, then there's a place for you and a partner in the ecosystem that can help. And the Alliance is here to help you make sure that happens.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And thank you for your time. It's been wonderful chatting with you. I feel like this is just, another day of us having our powwows of just that, of what needs to be done, but we're actually making the information available to everyone. And I appreciate all you have done for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hope you have a great rest of the day.
All right, you too. Take care.
Well, thank you again, Mr. Brown. But before we move on to our next segment, I want to take the time to highlight a dear friend of mine, Mr. Zebby Carney of Eugene's Hot Chicken. He's also a fellow TSU Tiger, and he has also served as a member of the Small Business Council. I have eaten many hot pieces of chicken, but I absolutely love him, not just because what the product that he serves is great, but because of why he does it and his spirit. Just so we can just have a moment to just see what he's doing.
How you doing? My name is Zebby Carney. I'm the owner of Eugene's Hot Chicken. I developed my passion around food. My earliest memories is just going to Big Mama's house. I wouldn't say it was so much the food, but the family that it brought together. To describe my journey has been a unique one. Through all my college years, I just worked in restaurants, kind of worked my way up through the ranks. I became an executive chef. I got transferred to Birmingham. I was executive chef in Birmingham for about 6 years. And decided to just do my own thing. I started with a food truck, and I did that for about 18 months. Once I felt like I had a good brand, we opened a brick and mortar, and plus we had outgrew the commissary kitchen that we was working into. And from there, we've just been trying to build it for the last 6 years. You can reach us on social media, Facebook, Twitter. We have a website, eugeneshotchicken.com.
So next we have, I'd like to present to you today 2 powerhouses on opportunities on what's going to be happening here in our area, in the Birmingham area. What we want to do with this particular segment and what they want to bring to you today is to make sure you understand what the opportunities are and how you can take advantage of those opportunities. And so first I'd like to bring to you and present to you Ms. Kathy Boswell, who is Executive Vice President of Community and Volunteer Engagement for the World Games 2022, and also Mr. Darren Hubbard, who is Vice President with Centerplate, who's providing services all throughout this area, but specifically some of the new opportunities include Protective Stadium and Legacy Arena. Thank you both for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Thank you. So in a segment just before now, I spoke with Mr. Victor Brown of the Alliance, and we just wrapped up talking about the importance of being certified for diversity and inclusion efforts. I'd like for both of you to give us a little insight on what that might mean for your specific organizations. Kathy, if we can start with you. Ms. Boswell?
Absolutely. And again, thank you so much for having us. It's always good to be able to share and talk about opportunities, about diversity and inclusiveness when it comes to supplier diversity. So what I will say about that is that being certified for us at the World Games, as you all know, we will be hosting in Birmingham, Alabama, July 7th through the 17th of 2022. We will host 34 sports here in Birmingham, and that is around the World Games event. And for that event, in preparation for it, there are a lot of goods and services and supplies that are needed. And so we have been asking businesses to register with us in what we call our CVM, which is our database of various businesses across Birmingham and within about a 75-mile radius. But we also have vendors and suppliers that are registering from, all over the U.S. But the key is being able to be very much aware of the businesses locally. What we have found out is a lot of our opportunities that we provide, we are not mandating for the World Games that they are certified businesses. However, what we are doing is becoming aware of businesses that are not. And we have a lot of the certifying entities, the leaders and executive directors of those certifying organizations that are part of our World Games, World of Opportunity, Supplier Diversity Committee to help those businesses know how to become certified so that, as Victor mentioned, they will be ready for the larger opportunities and know how to remove the barrier in advance of getting opportunities by going ahead and becoming certified. So that's what I can tell you. For us, it's not a requirement for the World Games. However, it is a benefit. It is a plus. But certification is also a way to remove exclusion of not having it if that criteria does become required for some other organizations and companies, within Birmingham.
That's awesome. So basically, there's no excuse not to be able to register within your database if a certification is not the break all end all.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. And because I definitely want David to go, but I think the other thing too is, to be honest with you, just to go ahead and become certified means that you're willing to do the hard work. I mean, it's a good indicator if you really, really want the business. It's a good way to show you've gone that extra step to separate your business from just any business. So taking the time to do it speaks and says something about you as the owner, and it speaks volumes about what you and how you choose to be perceived by the business community when they think of your business. So it literally is a portfolio for your business to become certified. It really speaks volumes about you.
Awesome. Thank you. Darren, how does it work with Centerplate? I know that you all are a large company, and we've had conversations on how to get companies involved with Taker Stadium and Legacy Arena. But how important is certification to Centerplate?
So certification is important. I don't want to lead anybody down the path that it's not. There are opportunities that non-certified businesses have, and it goes a lot to our contracts. In Birmingham, we don't have a mandatory diversity inclusion number built into it, but some of our contracts they do. And with those contracts, it's paramount that you are certified, because if you're not certified, then you can't count to that number. But in Birmingham, we don't have those same stipulations, but we have an agreement with the BJCC and the authority here that we will work with the local community and try to develop a substantial diversity program here. And that is, what we're continuing to working on. With Centerplate, there are certain things that, we are a large company and have kind of some contracts nationwide, but that's just a chunk of the business. There's a good 25-30% of our business that we try to do our best to procure local, and that's where we really look for a diverse supplier base.
Absolutely wonderful. So just to make sure I'm hearing both of y'all clearly, it seems like both organizations do not have a mandate to have to be certified, but there's a level of being intentional that both the World Games and Centerplate have into making sure that diverse and minority-owned businesses are included with some of these great opportunities to grow and expand their business, as well as just by taking that extra step to get certified. Just by taking that one extra step, it shows a level of transparency to organizations like yours to know that those entities that are certified are legitimate businesses, that they have done the things that they're supposed to do to be able to have the capacity that you all may need to support your organizations.
Yeah, absolutely. And certification isn't, a send in a form and you get it 24 hours later. That's the one thing that they got to realize, that, as of, right now, no, you don't technically have to be certified. We're allowing anybody in, but we could easily change our rules and, throw up as of January 1st, 2022, everybody needs to be certified. And so, taking those steps now, taking that commitment now is your best bet.
Yeah. And I agree that's the key, is just taking the step now. And as I said, remove the barriers that's any barrier that's going to exclude you. That's what you need to do. But also too, it's like, do what you need to do to increase your opportunities, So, and again, being certified is a way to do that.
Absolutely. So in other words, if you don't have to get ready, if you don't have to get ready if you stay ready. So when
Right.
an opportunity comes, you're ready. You have the paperwork available.
Yeah.
You know, it's short and quick to where you can just respond, because the response time is going to be needed. You know, you can't wait until the solicitation comes out and then say, oh, wait a minute, let me go get my certification.
Right.
You had to already be prepared.
Absolutely.
A mentor of mine years ago told me success is when opportunity meets preparation. And so I took that to heart, because, you know, like last year, for example, when everything was shutting down and we didn't know what was going on, I still found a way to occupy my time by working on some of the processes, the procedures, and things of that nature within my organization, updating marketing material so that I can be ready when the opportunities presented themselves. And so I like what both of you said about, you know, the rules can change at any moment, but we need to be ready. Now, in full transparency, since we announced that we'll have this summit, my phone and my emails have been off the chain about what we need to do business with the World Games and to do business at the stadium and the arena. And so I have to ask, otherwise my friends, my colleagues, my small business ecosystem community will, you know, they'll get mad at me, and I don't want them mad at me. So if you all could, you know, Darren, if you could just tell us, what do companies need to do to be able to be a food service provider or a vendor for Centerplate?
Yeah, first, you know, the biggest thing is just reaching out and letting us know that you're interested and stuff like that. And Selena, I know Selena has my contact information, and I'll definitely make my information for my GM that's on the ground here in Birmingham available too. And, you know, reach out, let us know you're interested, and also particularly, you know, what you're looking for. You know, we're always looking for, you know, local food partners, restaurants, food trucks, any kind of a small business to kind of bring the flair of Birmingham to our accounts. But we also need, we buy multiple products. You know, we need paper suppliers and produce suppliers, and you know, different avenues like that. So, you know, if you're interested, you know, reach out, let us know. We're open, and we talk to everybody that reaches out. We talk to, and we'll sit down and talk to you and let us know. I mean, obviously, the scale of our business can be a lot different than normal businesses, but you know, if it's worth the phone call, it's worth the meeting to just sit down and talk. And like we were talking before, that, yeah, this is one contract now. We're ever expanding. We're looking at other opportunities in Birmingham where, you know, it might not fit here, but now we've got this connection where, hey, I know the perfect person to help us out for this project.
Yes. So I remember a while back there was a vendor contact form. Where can they receive that vendor contact form?
I will. We put it out on social media and stuff like that, but I will make sure I send that vendor contact form back out again to you, and you can you can have all your followers as well fill it out.
Absolutely, thank you. And how do we find you on social media? Since you say sometimes you get listed on social media, is this on Centerplates?
It's a lot of it is we co-op with Birmingham, so all the BJCC Twitter and Instagram accounts, Facebook, BJCC Protective Stadium Legacy Arena. We all put everything out kind of together as a building.
Great. So we'll make sure that everyone has access to that information and for this event, for this.
Absolutely.
You know, once, you know, absolutely. Thank you for that. And Ms. Boswell, what about you? How do vendors find out how to be vendors, and what do they need to do?
So if they will go to twg2022.com, and if they go into, and it's an option that says get involved, and they can select become a vendor. And if they scroll down just a little bit, they're going to see an option where it says new registrant or existing. And if they are a new registrant, they're going to click on that, and it takes them to the necessary site where they'll actually register, because the key is being registered within our database. Again, our CVM database. That's what we use to source the opportunities where we are looking for people to supply us with a good service or product. That's where we use it. And even if we don't push out the bids, we actually go into the CVM, and that's where we begin to look for specific vendors for the services that we need. So registering within that, under Get Involved, Become a Vendor, and going through that process, that's where you actually go to get registered with us, and for us to be able to know that you're interested in supplying goods and services for the games.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So is there a sneak peek that you may be able to give some of our watchers today on some opportunities that may be coming up in the next month or two or before the end of the year that they might need to go ahead and start getting ready for?
Well, yeah, actually, and I also need to say, I really want to point out something. Saying this is the one thing I think that I have learned that I really want to express to a supplier and a vendor. Don't try to be an expert at everything. Know what it is that you can deliver with excellence and that you have the capacity to deliver. During COVID, people had to pivot and find new avenues of, new streams of revenue because their forward-facing or face-to-face opportunities was being limited. And so I think knowing what you're capable of doing is really, really critical, because you want to be able, when you apply for an RFP or submit a bid, you want to know that you can do that well. But don't think that you have to list being excellent at 20 things because you want to make sure to get some business. The key is whatever opportunity comes your way, that you really meet that expectation with excellence, that you just blow it out of the water being so good at it. But sometimes we claim to be able to do so many things, but we don't do many things well. So when you register, know what it is that truly is your expertise and stick to that. And if that opportunity comes along, then it'll come along. Like, for example, we are going to be posting an opportunity for golf carts. And I know for certain there are very few small businesses within our community that actually could provide the number of golf carts. However, if you have some golf carts, guess what? We probably will be able to divide the bid and be able to award it to 2 or 3 different businesses. That's one of the things we're doing with the World Games, is looking at how can we share the opportunity as opposed to using just one vendor. We tend to be able to use or are willing to use 2 or 3 vendors to fulfill needs. The second thing, the opportunity that'll be coming up closer to the games in 2022 are going to be videographers and photographers. Those are individuals and businesses that we'll need. Also, too, barricades. If you do like the barricades and bike racking, that's opportunities that will be coming up more in 2022. Printing closer to 2022 in the games, that's going to be a big opportunity for the booklets and brochures that we have to print for our dignitaries and others that are coming to the games, and signage. We have a couple of vendors, signage and our merchandise vendors that have been selected. They're going to need some subcontractors or what we call tier 2 vendors to be able to print as far as merchandise on site during the games. So they will be looking for companies to do that again, closer to 2022. The other thing I want to mention is that during the games, we are going to be hosting what we call a merchant market, where businesses that make small goods and products and packaged food items will be able to display their items during the game. And we'll be launching that application this fall for people to apply to be a vendor at our merchant market. We also have some venues where we won't have concession stands, but where we will host food truck vendors. So on November the 3rd, we'll be hosting a food truck summit to be able to share more guidelines and information of how businesses can participate and apply to be a food truck vendor at some of our World Game events. So that's, I would say that's in a nutshell. I know I said a lot, but That's a
great.
lot of the opportunities that people can look forward to seeing.
That was a phenomenal. I think you just kept me out of hot water because you just touched about just about everybody I know, from photographers to people with food trucks to my friend who owns a kettle corn company.
Yeah.
You know, you got us all. So everything was civil engineering. So
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, but you know, it's funny because we've had to go and seek, for example, sumo wrestling is one of our events.
Mhm.
And the what we call the field of play, or what they actually perform the sport on, is called a dojo. And so that has a special way to be built. So we actually had to seek out a local company here to really, who we found that could do that. And it's a minority owned business. So it is really exciting. But again, we sourced it through our database. You know, those individuals were registered. So registering is really a big key. So we ended up using engineering. May not have been civil, but long story short, we did use an engineer. So
hey, that's okay. That's great. I'm encouraging, you know, people to get registered. I send texts to people to like, hey, did you register? Because I know Darren, you sent me the link a while back to register on the database for Centerplate. I sent it out to quite a few people, and I send text. I'm like, hey, did you get registered? You know, first game starts on October 2nd. Is right around the corner. You know, got to get in the system. And you know, and Darren, I think you mentioned something about food trucks as well. How would that work with you all?
Yeah, we've got an opportunity on the north end of the football stadium on the top golf side, which you can actually access from the street. And so we're going to have a kind of a north end zone food truck kind of area.
That's
we're
awesome.
Looking at 3 or 4 food trucks. Again, just to bring some variety, some flair, and taste of Birmingham to the stadium.
Awesome.
And
that's awesome.
Yeah, you know, moving forward, we've got Legacy Arena opening, and then with the whole City Walk project as well. You know, there's going to be certain times that we will shut down City Walk, kind of the roads, and have maybe it's a pre-function party in City Walk prior to going to a concert at Legacy Arena. So there's just a ton of opportunities coming up, and you know, and I just want to just echo something that, you know, Kathy said was, you know, don't try to overpromise. You know, just, you know, come in and talk to us and be like, hey, you know what I can do good for you guys is this, and execute with great performance, you know, great execution, and those other opportunities will build because the trust will be built with you guys. That hey, you know, I trust this guy. If he says he's going to get it done, he's going to get it done. And then you're going to reach out. You know, then in a situation like us, we would reach out like, hey, you know, I really need somebody to do this. Do you think you can? And that gives them the opportunity. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can. And now we've got this relationship, and that's how, you know, we grow with companies. And you know, the other point is, you know, Protective Stadium is a 47,000 seat stadium, and every business might not be right for that. But we also have conventions. You know, we have multiple things. So, you know, maybe you're not a fit for this one particular football game, but you could easily be a fit for this other event. Or, hey, I need this. You know. Right down to, you know, I need a dojo built, you know, or maybe I need, you know, maybe I need some one-off stuff. So, you know, just reach out, introduce yourself, let us know who you are and what you can do, and we'll look for ways to use you.
Yeah, and I want to add something to what Darren said. The other thing I want to really stress to businesses, more than anything, is it's true enough that you, the owner, are the face of your business, but do not negate the people who work for you having and being a greater face of your business. Because when you're not there, you have people working for you, representing your company. I don't care how small you are, you know, and the thing is, You may think you're small, but you need to think big. You know what I mean? It means you may own one food truck here now, but that doesn't stop you from having food trucks in 10 other cities or getting a fleet of food trucks. The deal is you have to remember that you're not the only person that is representing your organization. So I am going to encourage you vehemently, because most people don't, but you need to invest in the development of your staff. Customer service is critical. That is something people will come back to even if the prices are high. Is the customer service, is the welcoming smile, it's the thank you, it's the sorry you had to wait, but oh, I appreciate you for waiting. It's taken us a little bit longer now, but you need to know when you get it, the food's going to be great. Really take the time to coach your staff on how to serve people, not just fulfill an order. It makes a difference. And my hope, I just believe that every company, I don't care if it means that it makes your bottom line a little smaller, you need to invest in your people. Because I hear companies all the time say, you just can't find good help. Well, I disagree. My take is that you're not willing to invest to develop good help. You just don't go out and get it and think you're just going to get it. You need to at least be willing to invest in people. And sometimes that's what businesses don't want to do because they're holding on to their dollar. But I'm just telling you, you really could be getting more dollars if your service was at a higher level. More people would come to you because they're like, you know what? Not only am I going to get a good meal or a good product, they're also going to treat me nice. They're going to use my name. So I just encourage you as businesses, take time to put in your budget, training and development of your staff. I don't care if they only make $12 an hour, invest in your people. They make or break you. And sometimes they're the separation from surviving to thriving. So invest in your folks.
That's absolutely true. Yeah, I've been on a roller coaster ride over so many years. I've been in business close to 11 years full time now, and having capable, adequate, trustworthy, and ethical staff. It's it's hard when you don't always know how to get people. Right. Or know where, I use word of mouth a lot to try to get people employed because I didn't have a big reach of people, but I knew that those people who were actually doing the work, especially once I learned to work on my business and not in my business, that I needed people who would be responsive to my clients as well as to me. We have within my organization a set of values, core values.
Absolutely.
We all have to know that it might be values to me, but it's what our brand represents. You need to know the brand. I have to make sure that if I send my employees to a conference, that they know who I am, how it represents me, and not just them. I mean, not just me, but them as well, because one of the things that I realized as a small business owner, a Black woman in small business, that I may not be able to always compete with some of the larger engineering firms, for example, when it comes to benefits or sometimes even salary.
Right.
But what can I offer them? I might be able to offer them flex time. Before COVID hit, we had the capacity and the ability to work from home. Yeah. It was a thing about family first. What little things can I do to separate myself from some of those larger firms and let them know that I genuinely care about them, so they'll genuinely care about the company and take ownership with that and take ownership with responding to our clients. One of the things that, a few years back, one of my challenges, and I'll get back to it, but you touched on some things that I think is really important for small business owners to know. But one of the things that happened was, a client needed a report. They need to know some information right away. And so they can present it to their superiors. And I was like, okay, so they're texting me and I'm trying to figure out all this information. I remember having to pull over to try to answer these questions because they were answering things on the fly. And I'm having to try to remember something right then. At that moment, I was like, this will not happen to me again. I would not have to pull over on the side of the road to try to answer questions about something. Fortunately, I knew the answers, but I started doing a reporting process.
Yeah.
So now it's, at first it was difficult to get my staff to understand why we needed to take these measures to report things in so much detail every month. And it turned out to be a good compliance and checks and balances for us internally. It makes sure that we cover our tracks. It makes sure our clients know that what's happening to cover their tracks, as well as they know that they have a document. So if at any moment, if someone asks them, if their supervisor asks them, well, what happened on XYZ project, this is the last monthly report. This is what we have. I can get an update for you if needed. And we're tracking those things. And as a Black woman, a Black entrepreneur, I realized pretty early on that there were things that I needed to do to prove myself that it might not be required of a non-minority firm. So having that additional level of transparency made a big difference, because the clients knew they could trust me. They knew that they would trust, and if my team is doing the same thing, we became trustworthy. Like, okay, they're going to report this. We know we can depend on this. Good or bad, it's going to be reported. They know they can trust what we do, and so that goes a long way. And just making sure that you treat your clients and their customers, important all the time, because at the end of the day, regardless of what your product or your service is, your product is always people.
Yeah,
absolutely. Your product is always people.
Well, I'll tell you, I love the food service industry. So I worked in healthcare. So Darren, let me tell you, I love food service people. I love them because I just think, oh my gosh, because first of all, they don't always make much, but there's very few businesses where if food service is there, they literally have seen every person in a company, or they meet and are face-to-face with more people at an event than anybody. But one of my favorite stories was when I worked in the hospital. The CEO came out one day and said, he called me about something. And I told him, I said, well, why don't you come around and I'll take you around the hospital. And so sure enough, he came over to the hospital where I was. And the first place I took him on a tour was to the kitchen. And I went in through the back door because there was a guy back there washing dishes. His name was Pop. And I wanted him to meet Pop, because Pop literally was serving thousands of patients every day by making sure all the dishes were clean. He was a dishwasher. He prepped everything before he sent it through the dishwashing process. And Pop had been there for years. When I took him, the CEO came out and said, Pop said, I didn't think you were real. He said, I see the videos of you, but I didn't think you were real, because they had never taken him back there to the back. Well, I will tell you, Pop was so excited to see him. His whole demeanor changed, and his whole feelings about the company and his job went to a whole nother level. But what he realized was he mattered. That's the point. And so, Darren, that's why I love food service so much, because those people matter so much and are not always recognized. And so I just want to commend your company for being in that industry, for giving people opportunities like what you're talking about with the food trucks, and just thinking outside the box and not looking at so much that the money just has to be within the stadium, but being willing to bring the community in and make them a part of it, and helping just that industry be able to be a part of your organization and your vision differently than just having to be at a concession stand or in a particular area within the walls of Protective. So I just wanted to tell you, thank you for that, and for providing that opportunity. And again, thinking outside that box. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for the kind words. I mean, you're 100% right. And it's one of those things as leaders that we've got to remember. Yeah. Those frontline workers are the key. I mean, I might say chances are nobody's ever going to get a hot dog from me, at Protective Stadium. Like, I'm not going to be talking to these people, but we're going to have, 250 frontline workers. They're the ones that are going to be meeting these guests. They're the frontline workers, but the frontline workers go to the delivery drivers that are interacting, everybody that we're dealing with. So So yeah, it's very important for us as leaders also to show appreciation to those frontline workers. And I don't, unfortunately, I think we could all probably do a little bit better job.
We all could. We could.
Yeah, we begin with the end in mind, and we take steps to get to where we need to be. We know that everything is not, full equity, but we know that there's an issue, and I have to commend our leaders in the city. I have to commend the Alliance, the World Games, BJCC, all of these organizations for making it a point to be inclusive.
Absolutely.
There's an ecosystem here of small businesses, and we've been crying a lot like, hey, what about us for a while, and now we have these opportunities, and the leadership in our larger companies in this area and within the county and the city, they're making it a point to say you have to include minorities and small businesses, and to know that your organizations want to do it and not being forced to do it is a big deal. It's not about, well, we're doing it because we have to. That's not the case. It's like we want to do this because as you all be able to present opportunity to small business owners, that means that we can grow our companies. That means we can hire more employees or pay our existing employees more. Absolutely. That means that we need to keep jobs in Birmingham and build more jobs in Birmingham and in Alabama and grow and make our communities better. Because once we start here, it's like in the book Acres of Diamonds. You start at home, there's so much that you can do just at home. And then that trickles into the rest of your surrounding community. That means you might be able to sponsor a Little League baseball team, or you may be able to help send kids to camp or buy school supplies at your local community school.
Right.
So there's so many things that you can do just by doing those baby steps and being intentional. And so we thank you all. I appreciate your time. This has been a phenomenal conversation. I've learned a lot about both of your organizations just by talking to you. I've watched from afar, Ms. Boswell, for so long, and I have to say I totally admire what you've done and your purpose and your mission, and how you just take control of it. You talk about your name and the importance of just having your name earlier, and so you are absolutely right, and I appreciate how you put it so plainly. And there's a lesson that I'm going to take to my daughter, who's popped in a few times since we've been talking, but I embrace this. I embrace both of you and what you're doing. And I know that my friends within the ecosystem here appreciate how candid both of you have been about what they need to do to be able to become part of, or potentially become part of, working with both of your organizations. I don't have anything else. Do either of you have any closing remarks?
I just want to say I made some new friends. I made you as my new friend, and I made a new friend in Darren, and I love that. I love just connecting. And I think the only thing I want to end by saying is out of everything that's happening, what everybody needs to see is the power of working together. The power of, and not just working together, but coming together. That's the beauty of what we see happening in Birmingham is I'm not doing my thing, Darren's not doing his thing, but we're coming together to do the thing for this community. And that, to me, is pivotal to show that we're changing how we see each other. We're changing how we see what we want. We're changing our picture. And I am just grateful for that opportunity. And I'm so happy I made 2 new friends. So I'm like, yes.
Amen. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been great. It's been great connecting with you two, but meeting Victor, I didn't even know about the Business Alliance, and I'm going to be reaching out to him and just get some more information too, because again, we're stronger together. Everybody working together, everybody, Birmingham's going to be better with everybody, pulling the rope in the same direction. Absolutely. I've been here now involved with BJCC since about beginning of 2018. And I am, astonished of the growth that has happened in this city and everything that's happening. I'm so excited about, the future of Birmingham and really, meeting and getting to know as many people as possible. But yeah, I mean, I think there's just so many great things on the horizon. It's super exciting, and thank you, Selena, for doing something like this. Giving us access to these,
absolutely.
that we don't necessarily as business leaders have that access to. So it works both ways.
Birmingham is really at a pivotal point. I mean, you make some great points. We are literally at a place where, as we do more of this and come together, it's really going to impact exactly what's going to happen if we make the right decisions about the World Games, supporting the World Games, the alliances out on behalf of the World Games, getting companies to sponsor different events. The alliance is going to be hosting a contingent from Japan and really going to do that in a big way. And we're asking companies of all sizes can do something, even if it's just you and your friends, saying your friends from different parts of the country, tell them they need to be in Birmingham during the World Games. And for the larger companies, they need to do the big things. So the World Games needs us to get behind it. But you're absolutely right. Coming together in a small group like this and impacting those that are listening is going to make a difference for Birmingham, and it's going to help our companies really achieve very, very great success.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. That's why I do this, because now I feel like I have become an expert in figuring out where to find different things of information, where, to help the ecosystem work for me, so to speak. There's so many things that are available here in Birmingham. It's just a matter of knowing where that information is. And, I remember there used to be a commercial where you just, just follow the green line, and, you go on your path. And I feel like I just start putting things in motion, just kind of following that green line until, knowing what I wanted to do, I could see it down the road. I could see what my life might look like in 5 years, 10 years, even, God willing, 55 years on what I want that to be for myself, my legacy, my child, and figuring out those steps, but once I start putting things in motion and figuring out how, this organization will lead you to this class, and that's how I got to Goldman Sachs, and maybe because I was in these training programs and having being an active member in the alliance, or making sure I go to workshops, even if it's not really particular to my field, but it might connect me to somebody else, and learning how to put those pieces together. I feel like it's my mission, my God-given mission, my ministry, so to speak, even to just say, hey, Selena, maybe this journey is not just about you, but it's about what you can do to enlighten somebody else and provide these resources to other companies, because I can't be everywhere all the time. And even though I have this, I feel like I have this purpose in me to want to help other small businesses as well as grow mine, doing these virtual meetings and eventually live meetings will help grow other companies, because I'm a girl that grew up in Raleigh, in West Birmingham, not far from between Winona and Jones Valley. And, we didn't have a whole lot over in that area, but I could see the people in that community embracing growth and development. But it just takes one person like myself to start planting those seeds and seeing what we can do. There's a higher power. So it's not about what I can do for me right now. It's about what can I do to help somebody else. And each one of you have played a valuable role to help other companies, people that look like me, to be able to go these next few months and into 2022 ready to roll. They have time to get ready. They have time to plan, and the resources are there. Thank you all so much for giving us the opportunity to share today. And thank you, Ms. Boswell, Mr. Brown, Mr. Hubbard. if I could give y'all kudos to everyone in your organization, tell them I said I appreciate what you're doing, because each one of you
Absolutely.
have something valuable that you are doing in our area, in this community. Have
Thank
a
you.
great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that was our event for today, and what an amazing time it was. You know, I just did not know that there were so many opportunities that would be available for even like a food truck. Just hearing that the food truck vendors will still get a shot to be a part of some of the things that's going around the stadium and the arena is mind blowing. Knowing that printing opportunities and other vending opportunities, or some other things that Ms. Boswell talked about in regards to being a vendor for World Games 2020 and being a part of that database, mind blowing. You have time to prepare. There's absolutely no excuse for registering with World Games 2022 or with Centerplate. But now you know that right now, as in today, a certification is not required. But just in case, you better get ready, because things are changing. There is an intentional ground game about diversity and inclusion in the Birmingham metro area, as well as the state of Alabama. And if you're going to get work, if you want to be ready, please eliminate the barrier. Please eliminate the excuse. You have time to get involved and register with any of these organizations that we mentioned previously. And if you don't know how to find any of those organizations, feel free to contact us. Contact me at hello@seleneresources.com. It's HELLO at SELENE resources.com. And my team and I will help guide you through that process of where you can go to get some of these resources to be able to get registered, to point you in the right direction. Now, again, it's not about what I can just do for myself, but it's how can I be a person, a servant leader in my community to make sure that women and minority-owned businesses have their shot. You know, we have to put money back into our communities, and the best way to do that is if we can do it for ourselves first and be a part of that ecosystem and going forward. May God be with you. Stay safe. Please get vaccinated, social distance, be ready to pivot, and go and be the blessing. Thank you so much. Have a great day.